Hi everyone, it's Vicky here and welcome back to a mixed media project. Today I'm going to create a tag with lots of dimension and of course I'm playing with products from my latest release, Oh La La with Stamperia. I am working directly on my tag with acrylic paint. The colors that I chose are Old Ivory and a pastel pink. The tag that I'm working on is about 5 3/4 by 4 and it is a chipboard tag, so it is nice and thick, but you can use any tag that you like as your starting surface. So you see I'm just adding blobs of acrylic paint directly on top of my tag and then I spread it out with my brush, making sure that I don't blend the colors too much. So I end up with a very subtle background but with a variation of color in different areas. Now, of course, once you dry it, you can go ahead and add even more colors on top of it using the same technique, but I'm going to stop here and I'm going to bring in one of the ribbons from my collection. You can see this is well used. I'm using every little bit of those ribbons. For this project, I'm just cutting off a few of those images that I want to use for my background. This is going to add a visual texture on my background, but it is going to keep it nice and flat at the same time. So here are a few tips when you're using the ribbons. Always make sure that the surface that you are going to apply them is completely dry. Make sure that the acrylic paint is dry, or even if you use the inks. And then one more thing to keep in mind is to always use your scissors. Separate the image that you want to use. Otherwise it's going to stick all over the place and you don't really want to waste any of those gorgeous images. Now for transferring my ribbon images, I like to go with a ball tool, but you can use the back of your brush, you can use the back of a pen, they are really easy to transfer. So I'm just going to continue adding a few of those images on my background. At this stage I don't know exactly where I'm going to stick my focal points, so I'm just having fun with this layer without overthinking it. I'm not trying to make sure that this is going to show or if it's going to be covered. I get these questions a lot. I'm just having fun layer after layer, and that's the beauty of mixed media. I find more joy through the process while I'm playing with the mediums than when I just display the finished project. So anyway, that's just me. Now, of course, keep in mind that since I have a new collection, I am going to share lots and lots of inspiration using this one. I will be sharing cards, tags, art journals, of course, mixed media projects like canvases, album covers and shadow boxes, so stay tuned. I will be posting at least one project per week. So you see me here adding splatters. I went first with the pink that I have on my background. Now I'm using white and a raspberry acrylic paint. I dilute it with water. And by adding all those three colors, the background is going to look as I have confetti scattered all over it. You will see the close-up photos at the end. For this technique, I always make sure that I dilute my acrylic paint enough to make it runny with water, and then I use a very thin brush, as you can see, which makes sure that all those splatters are going to be tiny instead of big blobs of color. And now let's create our composition. For that I'm going to use the wooden shapes from my Oh La La collection. Absolutely adore those. They give a beautiful dimension on your projects, on your mixed media projects. So for that I'm going to pick a few of them. I'm going to go with this stamp. I'm going to use the Eiffel Tower, of course. And to stick everything down I'm using my hot glue gun. Now you see I want this Eiffel Tower to be raised somehow, that's why I use the circle at the top, and here I'm going to use leaves and flowers so that the Eiffel Tower is leveled, and at the same time I can tag other elements all around it. Again I'm going to use my hot glue gun to make sure that everything is down. And as I'm putting this together, let me talk a little bit about the new collection. The collection is shipping worldwide. You will be able to find it in a store near you. Just go to Google and look for it. You will find a shop, a craft shop close to you. However, down below I do have links to two shops, one in the US, Simon Says Stamp, that already has the collection, and another one in Europe, Craftelier, that has the collection already as well. But trust me, it is all over the place, and if it's not in your favorite craft store yet, it is going to appear in the next days. So here I have glued down my Eiffel Tower, and you can see it is nicely leveled since I used other elements underneath to keep it raised. Now on top of that I'm going to stick my girl. Now I'm bringing in the decorative chips from this collection, and you can separate the leaves, the flowers, and use them as accents on your composition. These are very delicate, you can see how intricate the designs are, and they add always that extra touch on all the projects. It kind of makes them look so delicate and elegant. Just be very careful as you separate them from the packaging, but even if something tears, it's not a problem. Mine is broken here, but no one will ever know. On top of it, I'm sticking a little flower from the ephemera pack. And I'm going to go ahead and start auditioning all the elements that I have to try and fill up my composition to make it look more interesting. The beauty of using those decorative chips is that they don't add extra color on top of your composition. So they add that extra something, they make your composition look fuller without actually making it look super busy. And actually, while I was making this tag with those wooden shapes, I went ahead and created a second one. So next week I'm going to show you another idea with what you can do with all the images that you have left on the wooden shapes. On the top right corner I added another wooden shape with a flower composition just to balance somehow the whole design. So I have something on both diagonal corners. Then I'm adding a sentiment from the ephemeras as well as an extra little flower. Again, this one is from the wooden shapes. Of course, I just have to add some white splatters all over the place. I do have splatters already on the background, but by adding splatters on the top elements as well, it kind of brings all the elements together. I'm using a sanding block to just clean up the hole at the top from the acrylic paint that went over it, and then I'm going to thread through a couple of ribbons. So I just went through my stash of ribbons and I used a couple of them in a pale blue and a pale green color that I thought matched nicely with this collection, and then I'm just threading them through the hole. I'm holding it with my reverse tweezers and I will tie a bow with this string. This tag is going straight up on my craft room wall to celebrate my new collection, but you can write a message at the back and give it instead of a card. You can definitely use it as a gift or hand it out along with your gift. They are a great decorative element and I absolutely love the dimension. So that was the project for today. Down below in the description area, just like always, you will find links to everything I used. Thank you all so much for joining me today and I hope you'll all have a lovely weekend.